The ocean has long been considered the cradle of life on Earth. According to scientists, more than 70% of our planet's surface is covered by water, which logically means marine life should be far more diverse and complex than life on land. Yet the paradox is this: the more advanced humanity becomes, the more we realize how little we actually understand about the deep sea. We can send probes to Mars and capture images of galaxies millions of light years away, but beneath our own planet, in the deepest parts of the ocean, there are still vast regions science barely understands. And that is exactly what makes the deep ocean one of the greatest mysteries on Earth. In 2018, NASA unexpectedly announced plans to intensify deep ocean research and develop technology capable of surviving the crushing pressure of the seafloor. The announcement immediately caught the attention of both scientists and people fascinated by unexplained mysteries. Many began asking the same question: why would the world's most famous space agency suddenly become deeply interested in the ocean? Was there something hidden beneath the sea important enough to shift their focus? The question became even more intriguing because, for decades, rumors and theories had circulated claiming that unknown forms of life might exist beneath the ocean depths. Stories about mysterious underwater objects and undersea civilizations have existed for generations. Some former military personnel even claimed to have witnessed objects moving underwater at impossible speeds, far faster than any modern submarine. These stories were often dismissed as fantasy, but as sonar and satellite technology improved, researchers began detecting strange signals that still cannot be fully explained. Interestingly, shortly after NASA announced its deep-sea initiatives, videos of bizarre marine creatures began flooding the internet. Some of these creatures looked disturbingly similar to the alien monsters often portrayed in science fiction films. A new theory slowly emerged. What if the ocean floor is Earth's forgotten world? Humanity has always looked toward the stars searching for extraterrestrial life, but perhaps we have ignored another possibility: that radically different life forms may already exist beneath our oceans. This is no longer pure fantasy, because the deeper scientists explore, the more they discover creatures whose biology seems almost alien compared to anything previously known. Throughout history, humanity has passed down stories of sea monsters. One of the most famous is the Kraken, a colossal beast described as a giant squid capable of dragging entire ships beneath the waves. At first, scholars believed these tales were simply myths invented by exhausted sailors lost at sea. But ancient records made the stories harder to ignore. In 1670, Italian priest Francesco Negri wrote that he encountered what appeared to be a living island in the waters near Norway. At first, the crew thought it was land, but the massive shape suddenly moved, revealing enormous tentacles rising from the water. What makes the story remarkable is that Negri was not alone. Many sailors across northern Europe described similar encounters. What makes these accounts fascinating is how closely some ancient descriptions resemble modern discoveries. In 1783, fishermen discovered a massive tentacle nearly 26 feet long inside the stomach of a sperm whale. Based on the remains, experts estimated the creature may have exceeded 50 feet in length. At the time, most scientists considered such an animal impossible. Yet centuries later, giant squids were officially confirmed to exist, with sizes comparable to multi-story buildings. This forced many researchers to reconsider an uncomfortable possibility. Perhaps ancient sailors really had seen creatures science simply could not explain at the time. The mystery doesn't end there. Medieval maps often included drawings of gigantic sea serpents attacking ships. Modern historians initially assumed these illustrations were decorative myths designed to make maps appear more dramatic. But many of these same creatures appeared repeatedly across completely different cultures and regions. That coincidence raises an interesting possibility. Maybe ancient explorers truly witnessed something unusual, but lacked the scientific language to describe it accurately. Psychology may explain part of this phenomenon. When humans encounter something beyond their understanding, the brain often interprets it using familiar symbols and images. A strange marine animal might therefore become a sea dragon or monster in historical accounts. The same thing happens today with UFO sightings. Many unexplained events are immediately linked to aliens, even though reality may be far more complex. This reveals something important about human nature. fear and imagination tend to merge whenever we confront the unknown. In the modern age of satellites and Google Maps, sea monsters continue to reappear in new forms. In 2014, a New Zealand engineer claimed he had discovered an enormous creature visible on satellite imagery. Google responded by saying it was merely the wake of a passing boat, but many people argued the shape looked too unusual to be ordinary waves. Soon, the internet exploded with theories about gigantic undiscovered creatures hidden beneath the ocean. Of course, not every image online is credible. Some are likely hoaxes or visual misunderstandings. But the deeper issue remains. Humanity still knows shockingly little about the oceans. The Mariana Trench alone, the deepest known location on Earth, is enough to humble modern science. At more than 36,000 feet deep, the pressure there is thousands of times greater than at sea level. For years, scientists believed complex life could not survive such conditions. Yet modern deep-sea probes have discovered bizarre creatures living there. Fish with monstrous teeth, Dumbo octopuses that look almost cartoonish, and glowing organisms thriving in eternal darkness. This leads to a fascinating implication. If life can survive under the extreme conditions of the Mariana Trench, then the possibility of life existing beneath the frozen oceans of moons like Europa or Enceladus suddenly becomes far more realistic. And this may be the true reason NASA is so interested in Earth's oceans. They are not simply studying our planet. They are using Earth's deep sea as a model for the search for extraterrestrial life. In other words, NASA may not actually be searching for sea monsters. What they are really studying is the limit of life itself. If organisms can survive under crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and total darkness, then life in the universe may be far more common than humanity once believed. That idea is both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling, because it suggests humans may not be nearly as unique as we like to imagine. But perhaps the most frightening realization is not whether sea monsters exist. The real fear comes from recognizing how little we truly know about our own world. The deep ocean acts like a mirror reflecting the limits of human understanding. We often behave as though humanity fully controls this planet. Yet in reality, we may have only scratched the surface of a much larger and stranger world. And maybe the greatest mystery is not what exists beneath the ocean, but whether humanity is truly prepared to face whatever might eventually be discovered there.